But you're probably like, I live here.
Yeah, got your bike, man.
That works. Truck is not easy. This thing's heavy, man. Oh. That's a big goat. What is up, YouTube Adventure family? It's been a minute. Took a little time off for the holidays and hope you all had a great Christmas and a happy new year. And welcome to 2025. We've got a new item in, and it's something I've been waiting on the entire time of the YouTube channel. We picked a dirt bike out. We got one from Goat Power Bikes. We got the Dirt Goat 72 volt. Let's open it up, see what's inside, and let's put this puppy together and see what it looks like. Let's go. Yeah, so just moved into the new place here. Like right on the first, which was crazy. I didn't really get up here till a couple days later. I just had to get stuff up here to move, and it's a great location up here. I'm very blessed and very lucky. It's a good situation. All right, so let's see what's going on here. Looks like we got some pieces. See, this is the first box that was on top here. Let's see what this is. This might be either accessories or a charger or something. I usually do really good on these unboxing videos. I mean, one, because it's the Goat Power Bikes, and not a lot of people do the unboxing of those, but some pieces to something there. I'm going to put all the pieces together. That's a huge Allen wrench. That's something special. A tool kit here. We're going to keep the tools and pieces all handy. Got some bits and bytes. We'll keep all the trash in one place. Let's see what this is. Some tread on them tires. Ooh, that's a charger. That's a chunky charger. Is what that is. Oh yeah. Big old fat charger. Look at the cable on that thing. Woo! Check that out. Look at the cable on that thing. It's just a chunky charger. 84 volt output. Not too shabby. That thing probably charges it pretty decently fast, and we'll find out. But those cables are big and chunky. That's a heavy charger too. All right, look at that. This thing is like super reinforced. And I think it's like on a wooden pallet or something. There we go. All right, there's the front wheel and tire. Those spokes look super, look at the rotor on that thing, super thick rotor. Like it's a big rotor, but it's a super thick rotor, like the millimeters on the thickness of that thing. Super cool. That's definitely a dirt bikey grade tire. See what we got here. All right, I think this is a good angle to go ahead and start getting some of these zip ties off and kind of unwrapping it here. And this piece looks like the front area here, yeah. And this piece here, let's see what we got, huh? This piece here looks like the octane booster. It's the other pedal. And this is definitely the front mud guard, which I'm really curious to see what they look like, because a lot of like the Suron riders, Talaria riders, they don't really use their front. Oh, that's actually solid feeling. I mean, I come from a dirt bike background, and that's a solid feeling fender. Awesome. All right, so I guess one of the first things that I would like to do is get the handlebars on. But it's just like, the e-bikes. And a lot of people will probably want to change this part out if they feel like they want something bulkier or just to customize it. I think what's really cool that I'm noticing about this bike so far is it's going to be a lot of fun to customize because it feels super, super solid. So I feel like I've got a super solid foundation to customize my dirt bike. That's exciting. The headlight looks really good. I want to leave that on the outside. We could play with cables later. All right, so now I want to do the opposite of taking it off, and I want to put these handlebars on. So I'm just going to kind of leave things kind of loosely until we get it up on the kickstand. We get that front wheel on. I'm super curious to see how this front wheel assembly is going to look. Whew, as you can see, we brought it upstairs. It was getting a little cold out and starting to get dark, and we've got it almost put together here. Got the battery out, and I've got it up on my handy little log I've used for many motorcycles for many, many years. KX125s, KTM XC250s, just stuff. And we've still got to put this front wheel on right here. And we got to take that axle piece off and then put the front wheel on and then put it on. But it's just a lot easier if you've got a stand to put it on, especially a secure stand if you're a little sketch. But anyways, we're going to go ahead and put that front wheel on. And we still got a couple other things to do. I've got to still put this front plate on here. It goes somewhere like that. That's going to look actually really good. And I've got the right front foot peg to put on, and that'll look really good. And then the front fender, just to top it off, and we'll go in and tighten everything on and put the battery on, and I'll show you how to charge that thing, and we'll get rocking and rolling. So let's put the front wheel on the Goat Power Bike's Dirt Goat 72 volt dirt bike. That thing is gorgeous. Just look at that thing. That thing is beautiful. It's so pretty. Anyways, let's get going. Anyways, it's so crazy getting in the swing of things again, and taking that little time off was so nice. I hope that you all had great holidays. I'm very blessed. I'm very, very blessed. So we're going to take the front axle here off. It comes with this big honking Allen wrench, but I have a feeling you're probably going to need two unless you just get lucky. But you're going to at least need two. One to hold one stationary while you loosen the other one. So we're going to take these axles off, or this axle off. And that's like one of the nuts off one of the sides of the axles. And then we're just going to back it out. And be really careful because these two are compressed, so the suspension is compressed, so it will extend out. So it's actually pushing on this bar as you're pulling out. That's why I'm having difficulty doing it. And when it does that, just be sure that you don't have your fingers in any of these slots or anything, so when it happens, don't chop off the end of your finger. Don't ask me how I know that, but I do know that. All right, back this thing out, and hopefully it won't decompress too much when it comes out. Nope, not too bad, but did you see how it did a little bit? You could actually, let me get in here, you could actually see right there where the bar, this axle went up and this popped down. So you could pinch your finger really good. Just be careful. Alrighty. And I just know that because of dirt bikes. All right, so now that we got the axle out, these are the spacers right here. These are the two spacers, and they'll go on either side of the hub of the wheel here. All right, so we'll get this bad boy here. And you do want to try to get the rotor aligned. And this is where it really does help to have two people when you get to this point. We're going to get those little spacers in the hubs. So we got this part through here. Now the other side, again, we're going to have to, let's see if I can get a good angle of the camera here. We're going to have to compress this one piece of suspension here just to get it to go. All right, as you can see, it's two people is really ideal. And there is that. All right, now that we got, looks like we got it all the way through. Now this is super, super important. Before I torque this little end bolt down in the axle, I'm gonna show you a little trick here. Okay, now that we got the wheel on, we're going to temporarily tighten these two axle clamp bolts down. Now they don't have to be, torqued to spec or anything right now. We're just going to get them super tight. All right, and then we're going to come over here on this side. We're going to go ahead and get these to spec. So we're going to torque these down to about where they should be. And I know about where they should be just because I've done this so much. All right, now that we got this one basically torqued down to specs, and we've got this one tightened up. This is kind of funny, I know, but there's reasons for this. We're going to align our forks by loosening these back up. Now loosen up a little bit. You don't have to take them totally out, but loosen them up so they are not, holding the axle. I just want to release that pressure on there. And as soon as they're finger loose, they're no longer binding. So now we got it loose. Now what I'm going to do is I'm basically just going to get on the bike and just press down the forks. Now what that does, I'll show you here. Let me get the kickstand up and use the front brake too. I'm just going to do this a couple times. And what that does is it aligns the suspension with the axle, and it doesn't bind that suspension. So when you're going, you're getting a lot of, see how it's got a lot of free play in it now? So you do that a couple times. Hold the brakes and squeeze it and clamp it and push it forward a couple times. Just whatever you need to do. I'm not going to overdo it. All right, now that you've gotten that, we're going to tighten these back up, and that pretty much aligns your suspension up, your front forks up evenly, so you're getting even suspension with both of those forks, and that's super important to get even suspension in those. So we'll tighten these puppies back up to torque now. We just had them kind of just tight on there while we got the left side done. There we go. All right, cool. And look at that. Boomy, boomy, boom. Nice. Not getting a lot of rubbing on there at all. All right, so to put the front goat plate on, you need to loosen the 4 bolts that hold the plate on, and they're already mounted on there. And you can leave it off if you want, but I like it. All right. I think I'm just going to leave them at that tightness. All right, now it looks like we just got to put the front fender on. Not too shabby. Let's see if the brakes work. Yep, they work. I want to tighten this down here, and you could tweak all this stuff, you know, of course, later. And they do give you like all the tools. They really do. I mean, I could actually, yeah, they give me even one small enough to tighten that where I want it. This is cooler than cool. They're giving me more tools than I need. And if you need to zip tie any of these cables when you're done or tuck them in, you know, go ahead. I'm not too particular, but I do like my stuff kind of neat. I'm gonna keep it about right there, I think. Tighten this side and we'll call it good. Now I wanna get my brakes about where I want them. You could see that you could, you know, bring them in or out as much as you want. I like mine a little bit more on the upside. Right there. That should be perfect. Get the other side here about in the same position. And you can always go back and tweak these later if you don't get them exactly where you want them the first time. You adjust your handlebars, you could readjust your brake levers, whatever. All right, we got our handlebars on, and we got our brake levers adjusted. We got our display where we want it. Front fender, almost forgot. Now some people could care less about the front fender. I mean, and rightfully so. I mean, whatever, it's clever. But me, I'm definitely gonna put that front fender on. Look at that, that looks good. All right, so there's 4 main bolts under here, imagine that. And we probably need our handy dandy wrench, imagine that. See them underneath there? Oh, sneaky butt heads. Popping this thing in and putting the bolts back on. All right. All right. One more thing before I get to put on this thing is the other foot peg, and the bolts are already on it, just like everything else has been on it, and you just put it back on. So let's do that real quick. And then we'll get going with the fun stuff of how to power this thing up, how to charge it, and all those good things. So when you order your Goat Power Bikes Dirt Goat, 72 volt or 96 volt, use my discount code, Colorado Adventure Channel, and save a ton of money. And if you see me out on trail, buy me a brouhaha or a coffee haha. I prefer the coffee haha. That's my favorite brew. All right. Last bolt, and then we'll charge this thing up. It's got a big honking kickstand. I could do that and then that. I got you. I got you. See if I... Now it's time to put the battery in and see if this thing powers up. Let's do it. All right, so there is a couple tricks, of course, that you saw earlier when I removed the battery. So to put the battery in, it's the same thing. It's the same key as the ignition. You pop that and it pops this really awesome seat all the way up, and I absolutely love that. Now pay attention. This is the cable that we're gonna hook it on. There's a little push button here that releases it when you take it off. I was telling you about that earlier. Remember that. It's nice to push that in when you pop it on too. This little switch back here. Okay, pay attention to that. All right, let's pop in the battery. Why is everything to do with e-box like a Metallica's on? All right, so you'll slide it in. There's a nice little seat for it there. And just kind of bring these cables and wires up. And it's sitting there perfectly. And we'll tuck everything in nice and neat. This is your power cable here. So we'll pop that on. Push that button until it pops. You hear it pop there? Good. It's good when you hear it pop. Now, back here, this little blue switch, that's your power on and power off. Now, when you charge it, you want your power off, but when we turn it on, we want that power on. See that battery coming on? We're at 99%, boys and girls. As I was charging it while I was putting it together. Is that not cool? Now let's close this bad boy. Make sure it latches. And let's see if the Goat Power Bike's Dirt Goat power's on. Ooh, we got headlight. Oh, we got display, boys and girls. Looky there. Now, it's in park until you either release the brakes or disengage the kickstand, because if that kickstand's in, it's going to stay in park. But pull up the kickstand, hit the brakes, and you're ready to go. And it looks like you got a eco mode and a sport mode here. You got a horn. Woo! But you got a very nice bright headlight. That's super dope. There it is, the display and all of that, looking good. I mean, it's even got a super beefy kickstand there, and it just seems chunky. It just seems hardy. That's why I got this. All of Goat Power Bike's products are just built super heavy duty, hardy, and that was my main concern. I just didn't want any rattles or anything weird happening. And it's just awesome. And just look at those lines, man. This thing is beautiful, man. That thing is just gorgeous. Well, check that out. That's the new drone I want. That's the Flip. Anyways. All right, check this thing out. I'm going to show you how to charge. There's the little charging port. We've got it open, but I've got to show you a couple things. So when you take your key out of the ignition and you come down here, and we've already done this once, but we're going to do it again. It's the same key. And you just pop that open. You come in here. Right behind the battery port area, there's this little blue switch. Up is on, down is off. Turn that off. I'm not for sure that you have to turn it off, but we're going to play it safe so we can play another day. Now the next thing you want to do is plug in your charger, and we'll plug our charger amp. Just make sure it's on there real good. And then we'll plug our awesome charger into the wall. Just like that. And that charger, it's got a nice fan on it, as you can see. It's buzzing, making noise, and it's charging. Now, you could, if you're just dying to see it happen, and some people will, you could watch your battery charge right there. It's already at 99% because I was charging it earlier, but you get the idea. And there it is, coming in at $39.99, and you can use my discount code Colorado Adventure Channel and save even more on this bike. It helps me, it helps the channel, and most of all, it helps you. I cannot wait to go over the specs and take this thing out on an initial run. I know it's winter here, it's snowy here, but that won't be stopping me. Anyways, stay tuned for the review of the Goat Power Bike's Dirt Goat 72 volt. Until our next adventure, this is Chris from the Colorado Adventure Channel. Peace.